At the beginning, before non-Indians came here, we had recorded populations of about 10,000 people around here. By the turn of the century, we had 123 people listed on the census rolls. So as a kid growing up, I learned all this, and I thought, well, what happens to that knowledge when someone dies? It goes with them. You can't teach someone after you're dead. I feel it's a travesty if you don't share. We worry about how are we going to teach our young ones if there's no fish to catch? If there's no mussels, no clams? How can you acquire a taste for something that doesn't exist?
If someone asked me, how come you don't just go to a supermarket to get your food? Well, you know, we were taught that the ocean and the river is your supermarket. For generations, there was no such thing as a grocery store. So, you know, we were taught to preserve those resources.
We were conservationists from the very beginning. Every one of us lived on the beach from the time we were little. So we were very close to our environment.
Our relationship with the sea is ancient. We have a lot of respect for her. We're thankful for what she provides to us. Carried through all of that is whatever we kill is for food. So we understand that we're not to take any life without using it correctly.
It's one generation looking to the generation that came before it for guidance, for leadership on how to best gather natural resources, how to steward the resource to make sure that it survives for the next generation and the generation after that.
Wow, how interesting. He just let this stick.
Don't take it all.
Do yeah. This stick too. You hot next hot company. Lot John hot company. He thought ink shoot. Ink straight. He ink straight. No, he ink straight. Lot he straight shoot he hot company. He shoot next now in tama. Hey next he thumb cha. Luby he thumb cha midnight. John chu he thumb cha.
Di lot nafte. Nafte. Ay lot nafte. Nashte. Lan taga shami na ha.
All right, well, we'll go over here. This is normally where I go and see how they look.
Me, net at these three niece. Pretty darn rough.
So I just kind of take the medium, the semi-large ones. I don't know, they're a little bit smaller than my hand. Well, if we're gonna eat dinner tomorrow, how many do you think we need?
Shoot a test, tama. Shoot he jay shante he shamwa. Ooh, nice.
You know, you don't want to take the real small babies and you don't want to take real big ones. But in this area right here, there's not a whole lot of big ones, so this ain't too bad of a spot to harvest from.
He was baby.
And then as for the testing part, you know, if you get these smaller ones, you can use those too. What do you guys think? I think that's probably good, huh? The way I was taught, you know, you can harvest mussels year round as long as you get them underneath a shady spot. That's why I was grabbing them underneath. So in that process, what we'll do is just take a sample and then we can make sure that they're safe for our tribal citizens to harvest. Okay, so you see these here? These bristles, that's what connects to the rock. So you don't ever want to try to open it from this side.
We get about 10 or 12 to fill up a specimen jar. We hand pull them off the rocks and then we shuck them down at the beach. I freeze them overnight and then they get shipped to Department of Public Health. They'll blend them and then determine how much PSP and DA is in those samples.
And what you're doing is you're cutting this muscle right here. That's what holds that together. And then you want to cut this off like that. Okay, so you can try it with this one.
PSP is paralytic shellfish poisoning and DA is domoic acid. When we see high levels of PSP and DA, that means that there has been a plankton bloom offshore, which is when cold, nutrient-rich water comes up into the water column. That provides a lot of food for the plankton, which in turn will start reproducing at a very, very high rate. The biomass of these plankton are toxic. When mussels and razor clams feed on plankton, they're going to bioaccumulate those toxins in their tissue, which in turn makes them dangerous for humans and animals to eat.
It's been kind of a blessing and a curse to know the levels of the toxin, but for some reason now the levels are higher. And you know, our ocean's changing, our environment has changed. If we don't protect these resources somehow, some way, they won't be here anymore.